we are again. Wow. It seems like every show is new to me because every show means so much to me. And I'm shaking like a leaf right now, heart's beating because I have another superstar. First of all, hello to Alden and Jimmy Tran, the guys that push the buttons. Man, they bring me on the air and suddenly I'm there. And thanks to you for being there all around the world that I found out, listening to us in Italy, Moscow, Japan, California, everywhere. Thank you for being there. Put the pressure on me to come in here every day. And with us today is the guy that makes us all nervous. Pound for pound, the best high school basketball player in history of New Mexico athletics. And that means a lot because you think about Bubba Jennings, Kenny Thomas, Paul Soto, all those great players. Adam Beadle, can you imagine? I put you ahead of Adam Beadle. Now he's mad at me.
Adam Beadle was great.
But I tell you, he compliments you as much as I do. Michael Romero is here. How are you?
Good, Henry. How are you?
Man, suddenly now the governor's loosened up the mandates of the hot clothes, so we're about 5 feet instead of 9 feet or whatever. But it's good to see you again.
Same here, Henry.
Welcome to the Henry T. Studio.
Yes, sir. The greatest show in New Mexico.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
With the greatest iconic Henry Tafoya.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Man, I watched you play number 14 in the program, number 1 in your heart. You dazzled us with your ball handling, your jumping ability, the way you used to lead your Spartans up and down Spartan Alley. Averaged 35 points a game in high school in 8-minute quarters. Phenomenal.
Thank you, Henry.
Those are great teams. And man, I loved your coach, Henry O. Sanchez. What did you think of him?
Well, growing up, we used to go to the gym and watch him practice, as kids, And me and a couple of other young kids in grade school used to, let's go watch Coach Sanchez. Because everybody in Bernalillo, they were always looking forward to playing for him. And I was one of them. And we were amazed the way he used to coach, the way he used to yell at those kids, get them ready, fired up. And grew up just watching him and admired Henry Sanchez, Coach Sanchez.
Yeah. Well, he met you when you were in elementary school, first grade, second.
Yes.
Saw your abilities then, got to know you well, and he saw a star in the making. And he helped build your star. Did he not?
Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did, Henry. Henry Sanchez did wonders for me growing up. We also had another coach in Bernalillo by the name of Edmund B. Keehan, known by Bud Keehan. Him and Coach Sanchez, they brought that program in the 70s, 60s and 70s, to the top of the mountain.
Wow. I remember Coach Henry Sanchez, loved by everybody, hardest worker you ever saw in his capacity, genius, gentleman, man, but he could read, and an athlete, former great athlete, who played at the University of Albuquerque, St. Mary's, prior to that, for the great Bate Parenti. He's got stories.
Yes, he does.
He left us, he went to heaven a few years back. This whole community was at that funeral. Very loved, very missed. A lot of tears that day.
Yes, sir, a lot of tears.
How did you feel when Coach Sanchez said bye?
I went into shock. And till this day, I'm still heartbroken. I still shed tears for him. I pray for him every night. He's always in my mind, in my prayers, and in my heart.
Yeah. You know, they've exaggerated your height every year. Every time they put it in the program, it was a little different because people said nobody 5'5" is averaging 35 points a game. But that was fact. You out-jumped them, you outran them, you outshot them. You played defense like Pawana. You were all over them. How did you develop your game?
Well, growing up, Henry, in the early 70s, 69, 70s, I used to go and watch the great players from Bernalillo High, like Benny Pargas, Tony Pargas, George Perea, Joe Mondragon, and all those guys back in the day, Orlando Winchell. And I wanted to be as good as them or better than them. So the only way to do that, Henry, I used to say I gotta find somebody that I can beat and be better or be better than me. So I used to hitchhike to Albuquerque. I used to go on the 313 road from Bernalillo to Wells Park. I used to hitchhike to the base and to Trumbull Park, to South.
I'm going to stop and think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Hitchhiking from Bernalillo to Sandia or Kirtland Air Force Base to play ball against better competition. First of all, the challenge of putting your thumb out and saying, I need a ride from Bernalillo to the base, that takes extra courage to do that.
Yes, it does, Henry.
But you got it done because you wanted to get it done.
Well, I wanted to prove a point that you can be great, good, by doing what you're supposed to do. And by playing against, I used to go and play against Bernard Harding, Dale Slaughter, Wendell Taylor, and all those great guys at the base. Uh, and
Lobos.
Lobos, ex-Lobo players, Bill Higgins, Bernard Hardin, and all those guys used to let me play because they used to see me. I was a gym rat. I was back and forth. I was anxious to play. I used to admire those guys. So they said, "Come on, little guy, come on." They gave me a chance to play. And once I started playing, they said, "Man, this little guy can play," because I used to run all over the place. So I started getting tough on them, and they were big and strong. So I used to hang on to them, and so I could get better. And that's how I developed my talent, playing against great guys. And
And the list went on. Petey Gibson.
Petey Gibson was another one that I used to compete. I loved Petey Gibson.
Cooper, Marvin.
I used to play Willie Howard, Bill Allen, all those guys. I played against all those guys growing up. It was always a challenge to me to prove myself that I could get good and be good.
You got the attention of Norm Ellenberger.
Yes. Well, playing for Bernalillo and Coach Norm Ellenberger, in fact, you were part of it too. He used to go watch me play, and he used to hear my name coming up, and so he wanted to see what. And then the guy from the base, Wendell Taylor, all those guys to tell him about me. So it was a challenge. He said, "I want to go see this guy and see how he plays, how good he is." And that's how I got my defense down, playing against those tough guys, because Wendell Taylor was tough. Ricky Williams was tough. Those guys back in the mid-'70s. But I used to play with those guys so I could develop my game.
But it wasn't a make-believe story. Coach Ellenberger wanted you to be a Lobo. And that was in that sensitive 77, 78, and then the carryover, that recruiting year, and then the 79 year is when Lobo Gate happened, and that would have been the year you would have been a freshman.
Yes.
And all of a sudden things blew up over at UNM, and there were so many NCAA investigators and people who were suspect of this and that, suspicious. and you got in the mix, and you kind of got pushed aside
Yes.
while they figured out the mess. That was unfortunate for you because you would have been a Lobo.
Well, I was a Lobo till maybe like 2 weeks before the season started. We were at practice every day and doing what we were supposed to do as a Lobo. And all of a sudden, this Lobo investigation hit UNM. And then at that time, I had an injury. I got an injury in my hand, so I had to step aside until I recovered and stuff. And by the time that happened, it was a big mess with a Lobo gate.
Yeah.
And
That was unfortunate for you because the whole town of Bernalillo, northern New Mexico, looking forward to the wizard, the magician, Mike Romero, going to be a Lobo. Wow. And all the Lobos knew him, respected him. They expected you to play.
yes,
And so did you.
I did.
You
too.
didn't know any better. I've got confidence I can play. I love this game. Let's go. Game time.
And I used to have a good time going against Phil Latney and Russell Saunders, Larry Belen, and Mark Felix, Jimmy Williams, Norm Casey, all those guys. And it was great playing with those guys. They were great athletes, great ball players.
Wow.
And then
How did that hurt you? I mean, just basic opportunity lost. Oh my goodness, my dream come true. What happened to it? How did you feel? Brokenhearted?
very brokenhearted, Henry, because when I went back, when all this was going on, we had some different coaches coming in. A coach by name Charlie Harrison, and I did talk to him, and so he told me I needed to sit out again for another
Well, he
year.
was reluctant. He was walking around scared.
Yes, and that's what he told me. He said, "You know what? There's still an NCAA investigation. You're going to have to sit out another year until all this clears out because we don't know who or what players they're investigating." But the thing is, that I didn't have nothing to do with it because I wasn't a junior college transfer. I was recruited straight out of high school, you know. But after that, I waited and waited. And, I thought I waited too long. So I had these other opportunities as Coach Norm Allenberger and Pat McKernan,
Out of sight, out of mind.
both. They had the Albuquerque Silvers, a professional basketball team. So Coach Allenberger talked to me and said, I want to come in and try a team with us.
Michael, you could have played anywhere. I don't care what school in the country. If they just gave you a chance, come on the floor. And then, hindsight being 2020, maybe you should have gone to Highlands and just played
That's right. I mean,
and done something.
it would have been a different story, because I did have offers from Highlands, from Western, from New Mexico Military, and other in-state colleges, But I chose UNM. It was a D1 school, and it's nationwide. You're on TV, and to be at 5'5", and then to get recruited by Coach Norm Allenberger at that stage when they were ranked number 4 in the country was a blessing to me.
That means you could have played anywhere.
And well, I even had
They were ranked number 4 in the country that season.
yes. I also had Coach Tarkanian looked at me when I did at the Wendy's Classic, and Coach Fred Snowden from Arizona State. They watched me play at the Wendy's Classic, but Coach Norm Allenberger was so heavy on me that I went that direction. I played with.
Well, you're only 8 miles from your home.
Yes. And,
after practice, go home and eat.
And yes, and then the thing is, I wanted to leave my ability, my talent here in New Mexico for the people of New Mexico because I was born and raised here, And
I've seen newspaper clippings where Coach Allenberger's talking about you. I talked to him on camera about you. He was excited about you. Man, those are great days for you, Mike.
And he was a great coach, one of the top coaches in the nation. Coach Norm Allenberger.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. And But the thing is, things happen in life, and it happened that happened to me. And but I give thanks to God, Coach Sanchez, and Coach Allenberger, that the opportunities I had in my life.
Yeah. But then you go out and live a good life. You had a great wife. You have children. You're healthy. You keep your youth. I have some funny stories about Michael. One in particular, I must tell 20 times a week. Michael was a high school student in Bernalillo, junior, maybe a sophomore, junior, whatever. And in a small town like Bernalillo, everybody knows you, everybody loves you, everybody trusts you, especially a Michael Romero, an athlete, best athlete in the history of the school. And I don't know how he maneuvered it, but he got special permission from the city police to go use Our Lady of Sorrows anytime he wanted to. Be careful, don't get a bunch of people in there and break anything. So I don't know, and I don't want to know today his arrangement with the city police, but there was this window in front of, on Main Street, in front of the entrance to the gym, and he said, Henry, give me a lift. And I said, okay. And he gave him a lift to a window up here, and he opens the window, climbs through the window, jumps down inside, then opens the door. And me and my cameraman were there, and we couldn't believe our eyes. And I said, we're going to do this. We better do it fast. And sure enough, we did the interview, got some cover feature story, video. And then before we were gone, before we were leaving, the city police, they come in the back door, and they come in and they look and see what's going. Oh, it's you, Michael. No problem. Make sure you close the door when you're finished. I mean, this really happened. I should have got that on sound, but it was real because of the respect and love for this young man and what you did for that town. On game night, shut it down. We're going to Spartan Alley to watch the Spartans play, and we want to see Michael bring the ball up the floor and score 35. And we want to know we were there, and that gym was packed. You had to go see the C team game in order to see the varsity game. Am I right?
Correct, Henry. That's right.
You led the world in attendance.
Back then, Bernalillo, Old Spartan Alley was every game was a sellout. But a C team game, if you weren't there at that time, you didn't get to watch the game.
Yeah. I love telling this story. It feels good because I saw it. It was real. And here comes the city police and, how you doing? Okay, everything's fine. Can I get anything for you, Michael? No, we're okay.
But that tradition, it comes back to Coach Sanchez, He had that tradition where he had us playing 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
I was only 5'5", and I would play 7'1", 7'2".
And that's the kind of respect your coach had with the city authorities.
Yes.
Because he was building young men. He was building boys into men.
Yes.
With the sport of basketball. He wasn't hurting anybody. We locked the window. He locked the door. We did our business. And Michael hit about 35 in a row from his favorite spot. We're sitting there amazed. We do an interview, uplifting interview.
We had a lot of great memories there at Old Spartan.
Weren't they great?
They were fantastic. And then with the people that we had, the crowds, that the people would just fire you up so much that, like I tell you, you play 7 foot tall.
You did some marvelous things out there. Now let's talk about how do you develop, how do you learn, how do you develop into a miracle-making player? How did Michael Jordan do all those fascinating tricks in the air with a ball behind the back? You did the same thing on the higher than a high school level, but you did them. How do you achieve those physical developments?
Well, about playing playing at a higher level, playing with great people, and you got to know your talent, how much talent you have, and you work at the best that you can be. If you're right-handed, try. In practice, I used to go Monday or Tuesdays and Thursdays. I play left-handed because I want to develop my left because I was right-handed. So I would shoot 20-foot jump shots left-handed, and the whole practice left-handed, and that's how you get better.
Your first meeting with Coach Henry Sanchez, what did he see? What did you guys talk about? Did you know then he was going to take you by the hand, literally, and direct your path?
Well,
Did he guide you to being a development-oriented player?
yes, he did. Back, like you say, back in the early 69, 70s, I used to go. Me and a friend of mine, James Dominguez, used to, because his brother played for Coach Sanchez, 4 brothers. So we wanted to be better than them. James wanted to be better than his brothers, and I wanted to be better than James. So we'd go and practice, and they get a water drink and stuff. So we are still shooting around and trying to imitate the players. Coach Sanchez used to watch us and used to have that smile on his face. And I used to tell him, Coach, watch, look what I can do. So I used to get the ball and shoot at top of the key, and Coach Sanchez was amazed because I was just a little guy. So just keep practicing, and as you get older, you get to play for me. And so, you know what, Coach, I'm going to play for you one day, and I'm going to prove to everybody I'm going to be the best player that you ever coached. And, we left it at that. He laughed at what I was saying, like with a grin, like with happiness. So as I grew up and I became a Spartan, he gave me that opportunity, you know. And when I was in a freshman, I used to go and play with the varsity.
How did you earn Coach Sanchez's respect?
Well, his respect with my talent, and I used to be very obedient because I knew how tough he was, mean. He wasn't mean as far as physical,
Strict.
but strict. And I said, you know what? I want to play for him. And Coach Sanchez said, but I got all these rules and this and that. You got to follow. I don't care how great you are or who and what, how tough you can be. If you don't follow my rules, you can't play for me. I said, you know what? I want to do it. And Coach Sanchez said, well, it's up to you because playing with all these older guys, you get that in your mind that, you know what, these guys are nothing compared to these guys, playing against the college guys. So, but keep it in your mind. Coach Sanchez to put it in my mind. You're just a player like anybody else. Just play your game, and I do the coaching. And he earned my respect with that, and he earned mine with my ability and my talent.
Wow. He got it out of you.
Yes, he did. Because in high school, he used to let me play left-handed, which a coach would not let you play left-handed if you're right-handed. But the thing is, I had that talent that I could play either hand. So when I used to play, I used to play, Coach, I'm going to go left-handed today. Go ahead, you do what you need to do so I could better my game. And that's how I developed my game and his respect, and I earned his respect and he earned mine.
I wish we had some video to put up of Michael with that crossover dribble. He could go from right here with that crossover and his quickness, and behind the back, I don't know what they call that. It's the opposite of crossover, but he did that literally better than anyone. He'd go from point A to point D quicker than any human being. I would put my life on it. Not only to move to this position, but I don't know how you glide so fast. You'd go from here, your man would be here, and suddenly you're way over there, and he's still here. It's a move that only you developed. It was the Michael Romero move. Like Michael Jordan has his move, Michael had his. And you'd lose your man, you'd gain separation so quickly in such a vertical way. Bang! And you'd be shooting the ball there. He's still guarding you here. What was that move? How did you develop that?
Well, it's it takes a lot of practice, and it takes talent to do that. And then playing against older guys, tough guys, you develop that how you can do that. And then when you play your age group, you're advanced as far as that. Then I used to watch like Earl Monroe, how he spin dribble, do all these kind of moves, Michael Jordan, and I put it all together into my game. And that's how you develop your.
And then once this guy trying to adjust to go get you there, you stop on a dime and go again with another acceleration to the hole. So he's got to think about Gardner. He might have should have gone over here to stop you because that going to get you here didn't work. Shot a lot of layups.
And not only that, I penetrated. I get the big guys jumping on me. I always had one or two guys open underneath the basket.
Fun.
It was fun.
When you have that many tricks in the bag.
It was fun, and I used to do a lot of faking inside the big guys, And then when I had jumping ability, I was able to dunk a volleyball.
I was going to say I saw him dunk, but I was a referee. I was a referee. Then all of a sudden turned broadcaster overnight. But that was fun. You got to brag for me. I can't brag for myself. I was the only referee quick enough to follow this guy and be at least on the side of him on his fast break, but I tried to get in front of him. Now you got to be lightning quick as a referee to stay in front of this guy. Was Henry T. pretty quick referee?
You were the quickest referee that Bernalillo ever faced. You were always on target with every play. You were in shape, you were quick, and you were just sharp, Henry T. You're the best.
Thank you, man. I loved officiating. And all of a sudden, I turned broadcaster, and I did a lot of your games there too.
In the state tournaments, I still have the tapes when you broadcast our state tournaments, and that was the best time of our life. You made it so interesting of the game. You could just listen to it on tape on the radio. You were that good. It's like watching the game. You brought it to the point that Romero with the balls left, right between the legs, go up, and exciting. I know you watch it now, and it's like real dull. The sports.
Nothing about you and I is dull.
Nothing at all. When he was Henry T, it was all action. Action.
Those are great days, no question about it. What do you miss about those days, Mike?
Well, in your mind, you're still 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
But as life goes on, you get older and you watch all these other kids play, and I get that feel I want to get in there and play with them,
You still can. I've watched you.
Yeah, I can still play, But back then, it was just a blessing, God, a talent guy gives you that you can share with life, And I still miss it. I miss it a lot.
Amen. What did it do for your life, the stability of your life, of being a good person, to build the character in you, to realize right from wrong, to hold a job all these years, to be a great husband as you are, to be a father? Did your playing days help you of what you are today?
Yes, it did. Coach Sanchez taught me a lot in life, from a boy to a man. You're a man now. This is what goes on when you become a man. When you're a boy, your mind is just a boy, And right now, I still use that a lot, what Coach Sanchez taught me, And it goes back every time with my family, with people. I always respect people because I expect the same respect from the people. And if you give it, you want it back, and that's who I am, And it comes with growing up. Coach Sanchez taught me a lot in life.
Amen. Wow. Tell me about your beautiful wife. Because life goes on. The moment I met your precious wife, I had even more respect for you.
Well, I met my wife back in the early 80s, and we became boyfriend and girlfriend, and we both fell in love, and she was a beautiful woman. She still is. And I've been married 37, going on 38
Is that
years.
amazing?
And there's not anything that she will do for me that I do for her, for our grandkids, for my daughter.
That's a crazy story.
You know, and
I was saying, no, Mike, you're still wearing number 14 for the Spartans. That couldn't be.
well, that's always on my mind. You know, I always see that number 14, and it carries me through life because that's who I was and that's who I am. You know, and that number 14 was a great number, and it'll always be a great number.
Yeah, amen. You'll never forget it.
Never.
Nor all your friends and teammates and everybody. How about teammates? When you bump into them today, do you recall the good old days? And if so, what do you talk about?
Well, I only have one teammate that I do associate with, a very close friend. Uh, Everybody else, they went their separate ways in life, and which is James Dominguez.
Yeah, I like him.
He played with me in '79, and he was one of them that wanted to be great, just like his brothers, and better. And then he would try to follow my footsteps and do what to be great, you know, a good ball player. But James Dominguez is the only one I associate as far as ex-players.
You know, there have been some great New Mexicans. Damon Donzalski, Lovington, France, Clovis, of course, Bubba at
Alan
Clovis,
Zahn,
Alan Zahn, Adam Beadle, all the northern New Mexico kids that were great. Wow. How many can we pull up right now just in thin air?
Ronnie Rodriguez from Santa Fe.
Yeah.
That guy was great. He was
Pancho and I, Manzano, Norm
Pancho
Casey.
Richard Jenkins,
Yeah. Steve Suter, Jimmy Papan.
Dave Romo,
And seeing all the Richard Jenkins. I got a picture.
Frankie Ogin.
Stay there. Don't get scared or anything. Just keep talking.
Yeah, Frankie Ogin, that guy it was amazing. I mean, that guy could play guard, forward, and center, you know. And when it came down to it, Frankie would direct the Bulldogs.
What do you see in that photo? You got to turn it to the camera once you figure it out.
That's Richard Jenkins on the floor.
Now show it to the fans. Don't be selfish.
Oh, okay.
Can they see it? You get the reflection out of it. Yeah. Henry T., the referee.
Yes, and Richard Jenkins.
Jenkins is back there. Who's this guy?
I'm not sure if he was
Manzano.
It was that with I can't remember.
Yeah.
With I can't remember his first.
With.
Name. Yes, he played with Casey and those guys.
Good.
Oh, they were tough.
That was a district championship game. Now, that couldn't be you, Henry T., referee. That's Henry T. in the flesh.
Yes.
Look at the crowd at Highland High School. The crowds they had back then.
Back then, it's amazing how.
There were no seats left.
None.
At any high school gym back then. Today, take your pick. There are no sellouts in a high school gym today. If so, very few. In these days, tell me.
Every team had a sellout.
And Bernalillo, oh my God. What, you had to get there 2 weeks early to get a seat?
Yeah, all these guys were great, you know. Dave Romo was tough. He was a good ball player for Albuquerque High in '74. And I used to go watch Orlando Winchell play against all these guys, which they had a lot of respect for. Orlando was a
Yeah.
tough ball player for Bernalillo.
And those Albuquerque High games at Bulldog City with Coach Hulsman, Frankie O'Gean, and all the, I mean, gee, Alan Cariaga was on those teams, and
Trini
Ricky
Sala,
Clark.
Rick Clark, and Paul Soto, J.K. Martinez, Ron Estrada. Ron Estrada was a good guard for the Bulldogs back in '75.
Jimmy Collins. And
Jimmy Connors. And
I can see him now.
there's so many.
And I can see Coach Hulsman walking down the pit ramp with that green jacket, short blonde hair.
Albuquerque had so many great ball players that you forget all their names.
Phil Edmond,
Phil Edmond,
Pastor Phil Edmond,
Larry Williams, and all those guys were tough.
Glenn Lucetto.
Glenn Lucero, Albert Salas, Trini
See,
Salas.
we can go on because those are the great days.
And
Local sportscasters today, they come from everywhere around the country. They don't know this part of our history. And therefore, it's an empty part of their game because these were the days. Not to discredit these days, what was special about the good old days, Mike?
It was a tradition, great tradition. And the thing is, back then, you play with a 7-foot heart. Nowadays, I don't know nowadays how they feel about the game, but I know about the '70s and '80s because I was in that era. Everybody played with a big heart because everybody was tough and you wanted to prove how good you were.
And you wanted to be at the game. You wanted a ticket. You wanted to be in a seat in the gym if you were a fan.
Yes.
Of course, those days we didn't even know what a computer was, much less see it on computer. But man, you got to be in the gym anyway, even if it's today.
You know what, Henry, to be honest with you, if I could get in at the door, I used to sneak in because that's how important those games were to me.
Yeah.
Because I love watching those older guys play.
Or sell peanuts and popcorn and Cracker Jacks and Coca-Cola, whatever, just to get in the game.
And Valley High School had a lot of good, talented ball players.
And that was a good place to sneak in. They had 1,000 doors.
Yes. Tell me about it. I know all that,
And Johnson Gym, where me and my buddies used to go watch Mel Daniels and Ira Hart.
Let me tell you a story back in the early '80s. Darren Sanchez and myself and Bobby Contreras, he played a great guard for St. Pius. We used to go play at the Heights Community Center or Trumbull, and there was nobody to play with. So we go to Johnson Gym, and okay, it's closed. So we used to walk around all the gym and see, we got to get in there and play,
And all he did was wanted to play.
That's all. And nothing bad, just to play ball. So I used to tell Darren and Bobby, you know what? Those windows back there, they're always open on the weight room. Just go in through there and I'll go open the door. So I did that twice. We did that. We went inside and started playing, and security comes and says, what are you guys doing? How did you guys get in? And so forth. Oh, we're just little kids. We just want to play. And say, yeah, but you guys can't be in here. It's against the policy to just come in here without supervision. And then we knew the supervisor there, Little Gil. And after we talked to him, he said, well, Mike, when you guys want to come and play, talk to me and I'll let you guys in.
At least for a while.
Yes.
We just got through watching Ira Hart, Jamel Daniels, or any of those superstars, and we got the urge to play in this fascinating building we loved as Johnson Gym. And the thrill to do that. Some of these great police officers I'll never forget that I even see this day, they remember too. helping out a few kids out to come in and experience what I just said, to walk where the great Mel Daniels walked, where the great Petey walked, just for a few minutes, and they let us.
And Peter Gibson is one of my all-time favorites. That guy had a very high IQ in his game, very smart. He could score, play defense, whatever you needed in the game, he had it.
Yeah.
You know, Peter Gibson could have averaged 20 points a game.
Yeah, he wanted to play a role.
But he played his role.
Mark Felix told me one time, the great Mark Felix, when he was in East LA, he'd throw up 30 a game. But Coach Ellenberger said, I want you to come to Albuquerque, play for me, but you got to play a role. You're a good ball handler. I need you to get that ball to this guy and this guy. What are their names? Marvin and Cooper. You get the ball to them, and we'll win games. And we'll be ranked. And we'll go to the tournament. Sure enough.
Mark was a good ball player.
Mark could do it.
I played many teams with Mark together. And plus we were together in the 78, 79 Lobo team together. He was great. Mark was tough. He was a good ball player.
What do you recommend for young kids today? Of course, they have clinics, and they're rather expensive, but if they can't afford a clinic, how does a young kid get better today? And I asked that with a vision of Michael walking down Main Street in Bernalillo with not just one, but two balls on his way to school. Coach Hank Sanchez told me, you got to come and see this, Henry. Come about 7 in the morning and just drive down Main Street and you'll see what you'll see. There's Michael Romero with two balls, walking to school, backpack and everything. Amazing stories about you, Mike.
Well, I always wanted to be the best because growing up, I watched all these good ball players from Bernalillo. I wanted to be on top of the mountain. And by being that player, you got to play against people better than you. You can't just go and play with guys at the gym and beat them all the time. Play with the guys that can beat you up, and you learn from that. And now, like I tell the kids nowadays, to be good, you got to get in that gym and have it in your heart that you want to be that player you want to be. Not just show up with a uniform and a ball and play, you know. That doesn't make you great.
Yeah. Amen. Hey, I got good news. And I got to ask you, because you're the authority. I heard the other day, and I should have checked this with Mike before we went further. I think we did talk briefly about it briefly. The name Henry O. Sanchez, the gentleman he was praising, his name has been wiped out from the walls and trophy cases inadvertently or for whatever reason at the brand new Bernalillo High School gym. Now, word I found out the other day, just on keeping my ear low to the ground, his picture and name could possibly be back in the gym. I hope there's truth to that.
Well, I think they're working on it. I'm
Good.
not
I don't want to know any more than that because I might get you embarrassed. That's good. I just want to confirm that they're working on it. I like that.
Yes.
Do you like that?
I love it. 38 years that Henry Sanchez's name disappeared. It's time for his name to be shown where it belongs.
Good. And rather than make trouble or get in a word fight with anybody, speak positive about what's coming.
Well, we have a great school board crew now that are looking forward to better the system, better athletics, and the whole program, the whole community of Bernalillo. You know, we have Paul Madrid, we have Cordy Chavez that are great. They were born and raised in Bernalillo, and
they understand the history.
They played for Bernalillo. They were athletes in Bernalillo, and they knew and they know who Coach Henry Sanchez was.
They played for him.
Yes, and the thing is, for myself, all I ask is that respect for him. He deserves something in life for what he did for the community of Bernalillo,
Man,
and
he touched everybody's life.
everybody's life, everybody's heart.
And how the way he touched the former players. They believe they're better men.
Yes, they used to go back to him or call him up and tell him how great they're doing. They would always thank him for the direction Coach Sanchez gave him,
Wow.
and I'm proof of that.
That's a great story. Yeah, that's a great story. That things are developing. I like that.
And we also have Terry Darnell. Terry Darnell,
He's one of the greatest Spartans ever.
Terry Darnell was a great athlete and a great coach, and he's done so much for the community. And I believe he's up there. I believe he's a superintendent right now. I'm not too sure. I haven't followed up on that. But Terry Darnell has done a lot of great things for Bernalillo, for the community, for the kids, and I am proud. I love Terry Darnell.
Well, it's a beautiful gym, the brand new one.
Yeah, I wish Coach Sanchez would have had that gym.
Yeah, huge, 2 balconies.
Yes,
Man,
that gym would have been a sellout every game.
easy.
But things change in life, and we just got to go with the flow and what we have now.
Amen.
But Henry Sanchez deserves. I mean, he's a legendary, iconic coach in the history of New Mexico. I mean, a lot of people don't know. I mean, in Bernalillo, I'm talking about Bernal, that he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in Kansas City, Missouri, high school sports Hall of
Yeah,
Fame,
the national.
national coach of the year, and he's up there in that category with Ralph Tasker and Jim
Coach
Holtzman
Holtzman.
and all of them. They're all up there. I mean, what more can you ask? You know, Coach Sanchez deserves more love than what we have given him.
Amen. I agree with
And
that.
my love for Coach Henry Sanchez will always be deep in my heart until we meet again.
I got to keep checking on how much time you're using here, buddy. I think we got about 8 minutes left.
Okay?
What is it you want to really say about your past, your experience growing up as a player, as a media star? Because every 5 seconds you were being interviewed by a reporter. What is it that's just really pleasantly heavy on your heart?
Well, growing up, Coach Sanchez used to talk to me, and coming from a small town like Bernalillo, I mean, you have to have good grades, you gotta go to school, and that kept me in school. Basketball kept me in school. Coach Sanchez to make sure I was going to be the person I wanted to be. And because of basketball, Coach Sanchez pushed me to where I'm at right now.
You know who I talk to more frequently now than ever is Adam Beadle. Big man, 6'6".
Tough.
Him and a guy named Marviso.
Ruben.
Tough. High post, low post. State champions. Humble guys.
I watched every
Played
state
their
tournament.
hearts out.
I used to love to watch Adam Beadle play.
Frankie O'Gean.
Oh, that guy was amazing.
Bulldog.
Frankie O'Gean had that mentality that he had a heart of a lion. He could play guard, forward, post, wherever you needed him.
He really respects you.
He was there.
You went head to head on him at the base or where?
Well,
in competition.
Yeah, we played
The
against
Dogs in Bernalillo played.
Yeah, we played the Dogs in Bernalillo in 76, 77, which they were state champions and we were state champions.
Holtzman versus Henry Sanchez. That's a classic matchup.
It's a classic. And one thing I can tell you that Holtzman really didn't wanted to schedule Bernalillo for the reason Bernalillo was a 3A school, 400 students. Albuquerque High was a 4A school, a big name, and that
All
just
he could do was come up a loser there.
yeah. And the thing is, Holzman was just that great. You know, he wanted to play the high
You
end.
say Halls and you go,
Coach Jim Holzman was tough. He was great. You know,
what a good man too.
good man,
Good person.
and he Albuquerque High and Hobbs to me, has had the greatest athletes in New Mexico.
I would love to see Ralph Tasker walk down the pit ramp in that black suit with his little cane, and that team was coached. They ran past him down on the floor. They were ready to play. They had been coached. You didn't need to tell them another word. They were coached so well. They did the practice back in Hobbs. They get off the bus. They come down the ramp. It's game time.
It's game time. They knew what they needed to do. I played against Jeff Taylor Sr. and Steve Smith in the North-South All-Stars. They're both great ball players. Jeff Taylor is one of the greatest ever
Amen.
in New Mexico. And I had a good time playing against both of them, which me and Jeff Taylor were the most valuable players in the North-South. He had 32 points and I had 28 points.
My producer said something I have no idea. He whispers to me. He thinks I have good hearing. I've been in broadcasting a long time. I lost my hearing long ago.
And Valley had a lot of good, talented ball players, Valley High School. From the 70s I can remember, I used to play against Leroy Hood, Tony
The
Castillo.
great Bobby Gibbs is watching us right now. He wrote in that he's watching this show. The
He was great, too.
Dragmeister family. Can you believe that? These are superstars watching our show right now. Bobby Gibbs? Wow. That's a superstar to me. He gave me opportunity after opportunity. Great coach at Highland with Tom Hogue. God bless Bob. Bobby, you're free out there, man. I love
At the
you.
Boys Club, I remember him at the Boys Club with yourself,
Yeah.
Lucero, and that
Together we created the best youth basketball
Yes.
league,
And that's all we had.
maybe in the country.
And that's all we had back then. Now they have AAUs, they have all these great things going on for the kids.
He's in the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame and should be the great Bobby Gibbs.
He's great. Bobby Gibb is great.
Hero of mine.
And
Really.
Valley High School also.
And a close friend of Coach Sanchez.
Very close.
Yeah. See, well, we can reminisce and all of a sudden it's all out there. We could go 3 hours on a show like this, maybe longer. Than get calls in from our heroes around New Mexico.
There are so many great players that we can mention. Like I was telling you from Valley, we had Lorenzo Wheeler, his brother Roosevelt. We had Vincent Esteban. We had Leroy Hood. We had
Leroy Hood, the Swope family. Juan Martinez is calling in. Great player,
Al
great
Sanchez
coach.
Jr. was an amazing ball player for Valley.
Espanola Valley. Boy, did they do good.
Espanola Valley, that's one of my greatest memories. That's where I broke the school record for Bernalillo at the old gym.
Mike Kohler is calling in.
Mike Kohler.
You played against that great player.
I used to watch Mike Kohler play
At Pius.
at Paul Garcia. I used to watch him play. You know, Paul Garcia, I used to go watch him play at Bernalillo. The first thing Paul used to do, give me a ball. He used to give me a basketball because I was so anxious, to play.
You're going to find it anyway. You better give it to
He used
you.
to give me a ball so I could shoot from the outside of the court. And that made me so happy. Paul Garcia.
You know, it's Ron McIntyre, former St. Mary's player, way before you,
Yes.
way before me. I mean, that's a guy way up there. Played for Babe Parenti.
Yes, Babe Parenti was great. I had him as a teacher in Bernalillo. He was great. He used to talk to me all the
These are
time.
famous names coming out now.
Baby used to tell me all the time, Mike, you listen to this and this and that. I coach Coach Sanchez and this, and and I would listen to him.
Hey, you know what? Before I go, what an honor, what a privilege it means to me to have this young man on the Henry T. Show. Thank you.
Same here, Henry. It's always a pleasure, and it's an honor to be here with you because you only bring the best of the best to your
Hey, you're in the Henry T. studio today, Coach.
Yes, sir. Great studio. Look at all the achievements you've accomplished. The great Henry T.
Someday we'll give you the tour, but it's just good to have you here.
And we need to talk to Steve Davis. We need to get you back in the broadcast booth because there's only one Henry Tafoya.
Has to have some miles left. Gas in the tank, Coach.
God only made one Henry T.
Ooh,
and that's
thank
you.
God.
And the thing is, now that we have him, we gotta use the best of his ability, which you're great at.
You think there's more fuel in the tank?
Many more years left. Many miles.
Hey, you let the cat out of the bag. I'm coming back for more. That's all I'll say.
And Henry T, you've been the greatest.
God bless you for that.
There's nobody that will ever be like Henry T.
Well, they're playing our song in the background. Jimmy Tran, they don't get better producers than that.
He's great.
On earth, Jimmy is loyal, creative. Ooh, he gets in my face. Do it like this, Henry T. But really, God bless you.
Great athlete, smart.
Alden back at ProView. Now I'm going to interview Alden one day.
We also have Ed Nunez.
Ed's our buddy. And we got two of them in town now.
He's a great friend, a great broadcaster.
What a good man.
Great
My
man.
friend, Ed.
Everything. I have so much respect for that man.
I want to give a special ode to, who's this guy?
Coach Jim Holzman.
Special ode, Coach Holzman. I know you're out there. We're going to start changing up the show and what it means and how it goes. So I think I have no idea what my producer is. He whispers to me.
He's got to talk loud. Usually that loud Jim's noise,
Yeah, Jimmy's got to get a stronger voice.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be our last Wednesday show until further notice, because I'm going to spread my wings a little bit. This week gave a little hint that I'm coming back to do more. Let this be the second hint. So, see you Monday. Thank you very much. God bless you, Michael.
Thank you all out there.
Thank you to our sponsors out there, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know what that big white thing is over there, but Rack Lumber. Thank you to, there's a big screen over it right now. We got Hydro Bar and Endo. Anyway, can't read my screen. So anyway, that's okay. That's the way to end it. Have a great day. God bless you all. Michael Romero.
Thank you so much, Henry. It's always a great pleasure to be with the greatest of all time, Henry T.
Amen, buddy. See you later. Amastroy Drywall. I know you're out there, Pierre, getting mad at me. Have a great day, everybody. See you later. Alden, be careful.